Well, I'll try again. The video for July the 13th, 2017 is entitled, Looking for Signs of Real Change. Yes, it does seem as if people are waking up. Is this because of improvements in communication? That probably has a lot to do with it. We are now connected around the world in a sea of information. This makes discernment more important than ever. But how are we to discern when so much of what we are exposed to is contradictory? Things seem to be changing, although as I see it, not always in the direction I prefer. I want a world based on truth and love, a world where we actually do our best to support each other. Instead, it seems like a battle for control where so many only want to be on the winning side, regardless of whether it benefits the majority or not. It's competition rather than cooperation. Are there signs of love that I'm missing? Please share what you see, and I mean what is happening now that is positive and uplifting. I've seen enough of the dark version. Indeed, it's just about 2 hours ago now that I went to begin recording, and I always send out birthday greetings first. And I got on with only the last 2 people on my birthday greeting list, and all of a sudden I lost internet connection. And I had already had my Zoom, which is what I record on, booted up, but of course I lost that too. When the internet connection goes down, I lose everything. I not only lost internet connection, I tried to call the company, Spectrum, to find out what went wrong, and I didn't have a dial tone on my phone because my phone is also on the same system. So I lost telephone and internet connection, and probably TV too, but I don't watch television, so it doesn't make any difference there. But in any case, I hope that that's not a sign of change, because if we lost the internet, we'd lose our ability to communicate with each other. Maybe other people aren't the same as me. I mean, people are glued to their TV sets, which to me is a brainwashing tool of the establishment. And the internet at least gives us the possibility of choosing our focus and choosing what information we get. And as I've said in other videos, I look at a lot of things. Now, I don't spend as much time on the internet as I used to before I had my run-in with death, you might say, when I had my stroke and the heart attacks and everything. But I still spend probably at least 5 or 6 hours, maybe even sometimes 7 hours a day on the internet, which is way too much. But I live around the internet connection. That's how I connect with people around the world. It's how I'm able to make videos with aristos in Greece and with my new friend who I haven't been able to do yet, but that's in Hawaii, and hopefully connecting with some other people and making videos with them. But I want signs of real change. And, I have people that tell me, focus on what you want, focus on what you want. Well, it's hard to focus on what you want when what you don't want is so blatant and in your face, like a failure of the internet, for example. But besides the internet, that's a temporary setback. But we have had a permanent setback, or at least it seems permanent setback, when we look at the world and it's being run by psychopaths, child molesters, child murderers, demonic influenced people, and they're pulling in one direction. They're wanting to eliminate as much of the population as possible and only keep the population that is controlled, their own network of insiders that support or either support their program or are ignorant of their program and just do what they're told, you know, order followers. I'm not going to be one of them, folks. I've never been, and I don't intend to be. I think outside the box. I don't want to be programmed by the box. That's why I was a high school dropout, even though I was an honor student. I've told that story before. I'm not going to go into it again. But I really, 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 with all my heart, want to see positive changes. I don't want to hear talk of some 4D or 5D reality that doesn't yet exist on Earth, except in the minds of people that turn their focus away from what's actually happening in the world and focus on what they want instead of what they don't want. I mean, I've heard that over and over and over again. I probably preached it myself, but it doesn't work. I want something that works, and I want to see signs that we're really changing. Now, the RV would be one such sign. I've mentioned that in other videos. They're moving away from fiat currency and want to go to gold-backed currency, but even that's not the solution. You're still dealing with a monetary system that ultimately is controlled by people that have a malevolent intent. And how do we get out of that? I really, really, with all of my heart, would love to be able to focus on the good things that's happening. I'd like to be able to be taking the RV money and using it to build positive things in people's lives and building up the cooperative avenue rather than the competitive avenue. I don't mind competition in sports. I don't mind competition in games. But life should not be a game. Life is supposed to be the real thing, not Coke. Life is the real thing. And we need to get together on the same page and start figuring out what builds humanity up. What is uplifting instead of pushing down all the time? What benefits the human race on this planet? Not the Caucasian race or the Negro race or the Oriental race or whatever. Not the races in that sense, but the human race. We, the human family. The ones that I always thought were created by God. But what kind of God created us when we were allowed to be manipulated and have our codons turned off so that we live with limited information, and it's like we're playing with a half a deck and we're trying to figure out what's wrong. Well, we're not going to figure out what's wrong till we have everything turned back on. So I'd like to see and hear from you that are listening to this message. I'd like to hear what you see going on that's actually positive and moving in a good direction, something that uplifts rather than holds down. Is there such a thing? Do you see it? Do you see what I don't see? I'd like you to share it with me. I'm asking for help because I want to be able to be uplifted and uplifting of others, because so many, not just me, so many face dire circumstances and difficult challenges. And I'd like to be able to help a lot more people than I'm able to help. I was able to help a friend just recently that had a serious problem and a desperate need. And I was appreciative. I can't give much help because I don't have much to give. But I was able to help a little bit, and that's important to me. And it's important to me to be able to receive from those that wish to provide something that would be uplifting for me. So if you're one of those that think you can give me some positive stories or accounts of what has happened that's positive for you, I'd really appreciate hearing it. And I do thank you once again for listening. Namaste.